Every single day, without warning or fanfare, you are losing real money. It slips through your fingers in drive-thrus, lands in tip jars, and rolls under car seats. You don't feel it. You don't see it. And by the time you realize what happened, that hidden fortune is already gone. The worst part? You probably held one already, and you didn't even look twice. You almost threw it away. A dull, grimy 1946 wheat penny scratched. Darkened, forgotten, doesn't look special. In fact, it looks exactly like something you'd toss into a jar without a second thought. And that is precisely why this coin is dangerous. The one you ignore today could be the one collectors are quietly hunting tomorrow. This isn't fiction. This is where ordinary people lose life-changing money without ever realizing it. The post-war pressure cooker. Why 1946 matters. Here's where this story gets intense. The year 1946 wasn't just another year on the calendar. It was the first full year after World War II ended. America was shifting gears at breakneck speed. Factories were transitioning from tanks to toasters. Metals were being reallocated. The economy was booming. And the U.S. Mint was under immense pressure to produce coins faster than ever before. That urgency created something collectors obsess over today. Subtle imperfections, rushed dyes, and coins that were never meant to survive this long. The 1946 wheat penny with no mint mark was struck in Philadelphia. The tiny missing detail, the absence of a letter under the date becomes everything. Because when there's no D Denver or S San Francisco, it tells a silent story of origin. Collectors don't just see a coin, they see history stamped under pressure. They see a moment when America was rebuilding. What you're not seeing, the anatomy of a hidden treasure. Look closely at the front, the obverse. Abraham Lincoln's profile stares forward, calm but worn. Above him, the word liberty. To the right, the date, 1946, just beneath. In God we trust. Here's the thing, on rare surviving pieces, the sharpness of those letters, even in worn condition, becomes a clue. Slight doubling, faint, uneven edges, subtle shifts in the strike. That's where serious collectors start paying attention. Flip it over. The reverse is where the magic breathes quietly. Two wheat stalks curve along the sides, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. At the top, a pluribus unum. But in old, dirty, circulated condition, something incredible happens. Natural toning, dark browns, almost black surfaces, sometimes uneven fading. Most people think it's damage. Collectors see untouched history. That gives it a very specific weight, 3.11 grams. Its diameter is 19 millimeters. Thickness, roughly 1.5 millimeters. But here's what most people never think about. The feel. Slightly worn, a bit heavier than modern pennies. A soft age texture. That physical presence is something collectors recognize instantly. The population paradox. Why millions don't matter. Now imagine this. Millions were made, yes. But how many survived untouched? Not cleaned, not polished, not destroyed by time or careless hands. That number drops fast. Over decades, people cleaned them, spent them, damaged them. Every time that happened, the population of valuable survivors shrank. That's why even a dirty original example today can be worth serious money. Listen carefully. This is where people make a fatal mistake. They try to improve the coin. They clean it. They scrub away the darkness. They think they're making it better. But the moment you clean this coin, you destroy its value forever. That original toning, that dirt, that uneven color, that's proof it hasn't been tampered with. Collectors will pay more for that untouched surface than for a shiny, ruined one. The quiet aggression of the auction room. Auction rooms don't look loud when these coins appear. But don't be fooled. The bidding is quiet, focused, aggressive. Collectors know what they're looking at. They know that a 1946 wheat penny in original, circulated condition with the right characteristics can pull up to $180,000 in today's market. Not because it's flashy, because it survived exactly as it was. The obsession lives in tiny details. The spacing of the letters, the sharpness of Lincoln's jawline, the exact curve of the wheat stalks. Even the absence of a mint mark becomes a focal point. Most people glance and move on. But collectors study. They wait. And when they find the right one, they don't let it go. If you think you might have one, slow down. First, do not spend this coin. Second, do not clean it. Third, get it professionally graded. What looks like a simple penny could be a silent fortune sitting in your hand. Patience is what turns a random find into real wealth. The ones who rush lose. The ones who wait win. But don't relax yet. The next coin makes this one look common. The 1940 penny, the ordinary coin that's no longer ordinary. The scariest coins aren't the shiny ones. They're the ones you trust the most. The ones that look normal, safe, spendable, like that 1940 wheat penny. You've probably passed through your hands without a second thought. What if I told you that exact coin, that ordinary-looking piece of copper, has quietly turned into one of the most hunted, hidden treasures in circulation? Most people miss this, and it's costing them everything. On the edge of war. Let's go back to 1940. America was standing on the edge of something massive. The world was already at war. The United States hadn't officially entered yet, but the pressure was building. Industry was accelerating. Resources were tightening. The U.S. Mint was pushing hard to keep up with demand. Coins like this weren't crafted slowly. They were produced under stress. And when production speeds up, perfection disappears. That's where rarity is born. Just silence. And that silence is what collectors listen for. Philadelphia coins from this era carry subtle characteristics that separate ordinary pieces from ones that command serious attention at auction. What very fine condition really means. Look at the front. Lincoln's portrait is still there, facing right, steady, and familiar. Above him, In God We Trust. To the left, Liberty. And the date 1940, clean and centered. In very fine condition, something powerful happens. You can still see clear detail in Lincoln's hair, slight definition in his coat, and sharper lettering than worn-out versions. That balance between age and preservation, that's where collectors start leaning in. Flip it over. 2 wheat stalks arch inward, almost protecting the center text. 1 cent in United States of America. Above that, E pluribus unum. In very fine condition, the lines in those wheat stalks are still visible. Not fully sharp, but alive enough to show they haven't been erased by time. That level of survival is not common. Not even close. Same composition, 95% copper, tin, and zinc. Same weight, 3.11 grams. Same diameter, 19 millimeters. But here's the overlooked part, the edge wear. In very fine condition, the rim is still strong, not flattened. That edge alone can separate a valuable coin from a forgettable one. The Great Depression survivor. Think about how many of these were actually saved properly. Not many. Most were used daily, spent during a time when every cent mattered. They passed through hands during economic uncertainty, wartime buildup, and rapid change. They weren't protected. They weren't preserved. When one survives today in very fine condition with original surfaces intact, it becomes something else entirely. And again, never clean this coin. That natural toning that's slightly aged, even darkened surface is proof of authenticity. The moment you wipe it, polish it, or scrub it, you erase history. Collectors will walk away instantly. The silent hoarding. Something else is happening behind the scenes. Collectors aren't just buying these, they're holding them, locking them away, because they know the supply is shrinking every year. Every damaged coin, every cleaned surface, every lost piece reduces what's left. And demand is only rising quietly, aggressively, without headlines. At auctions, a 1940 wheat penny in very fine condition with the right details can reach up to $190,000. That's not hype. That's real money changing hands. If you find one, stop. Do not spend it. Inspect it under soft light. Look at Lincoln's hair, the wheat lines, the rim. Leave it exactly as it is. Then get it professionally graded. Because without authentication, you're guessing. But don't get comfortable yet. The next coin is even more shocking. The 1935 misprint. When something wrong becomes extremely right. Something is wrong with this coin. And that's exactly why it's so valuable. At first glance, a 1935 wheat penny looks harmless old. Worn, maybe even a little ugly. But then you flip it over and the reverse just doesn't look right. The spacing feels off. The strike looks uneven. Almost like the coin was printed under pressure that couldn't hold. Most people ignore that moment. Collectors? That's the moment they lock in. The Great Depression mint. 1935 was deep in the shadow of the Great Depression. America was still struggling, still rebuilding, still trying to stabilize an economy that had shaken millions. The U.S. Mint wasn't operating in comfort. It was operating under demand, urgency, and limitations. When production ramps up during economic stress, machines wear down, dies weaken, and mistakes slip through. That's how coins like this are born, not by design, but by pressure. This wheat penny carries no mint mark Philadelphia again. It's everything. Philadelphia was producing coins at scale, pushing equipment harder and faster. Over time, the reverse dies, the part responsible for stamping the wheat. Stocks and lettering began to fatigue. That's where the reverse misprint effect creeps in. Weak strikes, shifted impressions, uneven depth. Subtle but deadly valuable. The telltale signs of die fatigue. Look at the obverse. Lincoln's face is still present, worn but clear in very fine condition. In God we trust above. Liberty to the left. The date 1935 to the right. In this grade, the details aren't perfect, but they're alive. His cheekbone, the outline of his jaw, even some hair detail remains. That balance of wear and clarity is exactly what collectors want. It proves the coin lived a life but wasn't destroyed. Flip it, and this is where things get intense. The reverse is supposed to be symmetrical, clean, balanced. 2 wheat stalks framing 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. But on this coin, something feels off. Maybe the lettering looks slightly faded in one area. Maybe the strike is uneven. Maybe the wheat lines aren't as sharp on one side. Rarity born from hardship. Imagine how rare that is. A coin from 1935 used during one of the hardest economic periods in American history, surviving in very fine condition with a visible reverse die issue. Most didn't make it. They were spent, worn down, melted, or destroyed. Every year, fewer exist. The ones that remain are being pulled out of circulation and locked away by collectors who know exactly what they're holding. And here comes the biggest mistake. People try to fix the coin. They see uneven coloring or dark toning and clean it. That single action can erase thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in value. Never clean this coin. That original surface, even if it looks imperfect, is the fingerprint of authenticity. Once it's gone forever. The personality premium. Collectors are obsessed with coins like this, not because they're perfect, but because they're unique. That reverse misprint, that die fatigue, that slightly off-center feel it creates personality. No two are exactly alike. In the world of collecting, uniqueness drives demand. Quietly, aggressively, relentlessly. Auction rooms don't always look dramatic. But when a coin like this appears, the energy shifts. Bidders study every detail. They zoom in on the reverse. They analyze the strike. Then, without warning, the competition escalates. A 1935 wheat penny with reverse die issues in very fine condition has reached up to $252,000 in today's market. If you come across one, don't rush. Do not spend it. Hold it under proper light and examine the reverse carefully. Look for uneven strikes, weak areas, anything that feels off. Leave it exactly as you found it. No cleaning, no polishing, no shortcuts. Then get it professionally graded. This is hidden wealth sitting in plain sight, disguised as something ordinary. People are losing these every single day because they don't know what to look for. But now you do. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. But what's next is on another level entirely. The 1980 survivor. Why poor condition can mean a small fortune. This coin looks like it shouldn't even exist anymore. Worn down, almost lifeless. Like it's already done its job and faded into history. A 1918 wheat penny in poor condition is the kind of coin most people don't even bother picking up. They see damage, age, worthlessness, but that exact assumption, that's where people lose something they can never get back. Because this coin, even in this condition, can carry a silent fortune. The chaos of 1918. 1918 was not a normal year. The world was in chaos. World War I was reaching its final brutal phase. Resources were stretched thin. Industries were strained. The United States was deep in wartime production. The U.S. Mint wasn't operating in comfort. It was operating under pressure. Coins had to be produced quickly, efficiently, and in massive quantities. When that happens, quality control slips, dies wear faster, and coins enter circulation already carrying the marks of stress. This 1918 wheat penny, struck in Philadelphia, carries no mint mark. That missing letter beneath the date isn't just a detail. It's a signal. It tells you where it was born, under what conditions, and during what kind of national pressure. Philadelphia was pushing out coins at a relentless pace. Over time, the dies began to degrade. That degradation didn't just affect appearance. It created subtle variations that collectors today hunt obsessively. The beauty in the worn. Now look at the obverse. Even in poor condition, Lincoln's face may be heavily worn, almost blending into the surface, but the outline is still there. In God We Trust might be faint, barely readable. Liberty could be partially faded. The date 1918 might look soft, almost ghost-like. Here's the truth. Collectors don't ignore that. They lean closer, because survival in this condition from this era tells a deeper story than perfection ever could. Turn the coin over. The reverse feels like it's barely holding on. The wheat stalks may be thin, worn down, almost disappearing into the background. 1 cent in United States of America might not be bold anymore, but they're present. Above that, E pluribus unum may be faint, but still whispering from the past. This is not damage in the eyes of a collector. This is endurance. This is a coin that lived through a century and still exists. Same classic composition, 95% copper, tin, and zinc. That gives the coin its deep, aged tone. Even in poor condition, you can feel it. The wear may slightly reduce the standard 3.11 grams. Diameter remains close to 19 millimeters. Thickness around 1.5 millimeters. Though decades of circulation can thin it out, the edge might be soft, worn, almost smooth. That's expected. That's proof of its journey.